I mean, when it comes to gunslinger type character, there's really no point of showing every single occasion of them being outnumbered when it comes to shootouts and them still being able to come out on top. That's a standard thing when it comes to these characters being outnumbered in shootouts and still winning. There's ambushes like this, for example, where the crew was literally caught off guard, but they still won this shootout in this occasion. Like him and Sadie Adler pretty much being a two-person army taking on a multitude of beings on their own. There was this occasion with Arthur Morgan when his crew members was like held hostage, and yeah, you can get to see his accuracy in this particular situation. John Marston was actually one of the people being held hostage. He was analyzing with his vision to get his marksmanship, getting them lined up right. This kind of shows how good his marksmanship is, even though this would be ridiculously dangerous to shoot somebody's head this close to his buddies. He still had the accuracy and the lore to even hit a direct shot on him. A great example of his marksmanship is this mission with him and Micah. They was outnumbered, and he had to pretty much outshoot them to pretty much let Bill, one of his members of his gang, free to show his accuracy. They're still able to pull this off, even though it's 2v4 or 5. Video game characters. A popular video game saga, Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. It's a world very similar to our own, but it's set during the 1800s, near the end of the Wild Wild West era. There's like a gang, of course, the Vanderlyn gang. One of the main characters that I'm going over in this video, Arthur Morgan, is a part of this gang, and I'm trying to analyze how strong he is. I mean, he's been a part of this life for a while, technically since he was 14, so he didn't know nothing else but to get the job done in his lore. Since these characters are somewhat realistic, there's nothing too flashy. You know, they're humans. They can use weapons and all that good stuff. Thanks to them being gunslingers, they have some pretty good aim. Let's get it. Despite the humans or character human beings not being super duper over the top, there are beings that can react to actual bullets, like these magicians in this little carnival show or whatever. Like, it's a literal display of reflexes, talking about revolver, aiming at his head and pull the trigger, lightning fast reflexes, catch the bullet in his teeth, and actually did it. I'm not saying Arthur can do this, but hey, there's people in this universe that can actually do this, but that's none of my business. You know, you got your standard pistols or handheld guns. He can use two at once, of course. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. He can use snipers, rifles of all sorts, shotguns, blah, blah, freaking blah. Like, he's a human character I wouldn't say is nowhere near somebody like Baki or Batman or super soldiers in Marvel or something. But despite all of this, he seems to have some suspicious showings of his raw physical strength still. The only beings you can say are stronger than him are like beings that are abnormally strong, like circus freaks, for example. Yeah, it was literally stated here, the amazing feats of human strength, the strongest woman you'll ever see. I will admit, though, the fact that Arthur was able to slugfest it with her for a little bit is impressive, I will admit indeed, despite her having a strength advantage over Arthur for sure. But yeah, I'm not saying he's on her level, but hey, close enough, right? Even though he did get knocked out. They described this woman as being as strong as an ox, which of course could be a pun, but hey, their words, not mine. Hortensia. This woman is the same one that Arthur slugfested with for a little while, even though he lost. She has visual feats of her actually bending still in front of everybody as a show. Just to give you an idea of what Arthur had to scuffle with. She's strong enough to rip books apart. You probably wouldn't know this is harder than it looks. You try to rip a book apart with your raw strength, trust me, she wouldn't be in this circus type looking act if this was easy. Raw strength, baby. And when we're talking about concrete that's on her, she withstands a cement block breaking on her. And this is what Arthur had to face against. And apparently this guy saw her stop a charging bull with her chest. Apparently he saw that. Even when he was suffering from this thing known as tuberculosis, he was literally dying from this. Arthur shows resilience and pain tolerance. We literally see him physically do a pretty decent job against this guy known as Michael, who's at full health, by the way, and Arthur's not. He still can give him some issues. Grappling, taking hits from him, punches in hand-to-hand, despite him literally being on death's door. Imagine getting your face jacked up by a guy that's on death's door and dying with tuberculosis. One of his many pieces of equipment being a lasso. Of course, we've seen him wrestle with cattle before. This is physically without counting guns. I don't think counting guns is fair. I mean, of course, we talking about guns. It's just not fair, if we're being honest. I mean, with weapons, he can blow heads off, so that's not fair. I mean, yikes. Like Lions, for example, his guns can easily take him out. Like, we're talking about him with dynamite, can easily blow up carriages. We've seen him physically lift up men off the ground. He boxed it up with a wolf with his bare hands, kicking, punching, and everything of that sort. Just to show his physicals, not really counting his weapons. One of his many physical fights, this being, for example, with punches, he gave brain damage. He clearly won.
Near killing Tommy out in the street.
When it comes to his strength, he can easily break beings' neck with just vice grip without twisting. This game has their very own version of bears. He can just straight up punch and kick and survive in a maul or encounter with. Like, he's literally getting mauled here. I will admit, though, he had to pull out a knife in this particular occasion to do significant damage on it, though. Surviving this long against a bear this big is still impressive, though. Punches and kicks. And then, of course, he can use a knife to skin the bear itself. It's like a normal routine of him being strong enough to skin stuff with his bare hands. Give me that fur. It should be noted in this game's lore that a grizzly bear or bears can weigh nearly 1,000 pounds. Strong enough to harm a horse with his punch, but gets hit back though. Alligators have a ridiculously strong bite force. I mean, there's a chance this could be a game mechanic. Without losing his arm, he was able to escape the grip of an alligator biting him. Really hard to measure this, though. What do you think? I mean, when we're talking about weapons, dynamite and stuff like that, he could easily, with his weapons, destroy houses and things of that nature. Explosive that can bust through brick walls. But if we're talking about his physical punches and things of that sort, he can definitely punch hard enough to knock a door down, punch holes in doors, things like that. Nothing too crazy, though, but he does seem to be above your average man when it comes to physical strength. There's a possibility he could have supersonic reflexes if he's anywhere near that magician that was on stage catching a bullet with his teeth. But that's a big assumption and assume he can do it just because that magician that had plenty of practice and whatever that can do it. Your opinions are welcome on that. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you respect his strength? Nothing too crazy. Respect Arthur Morgan. Thanks for the donations, though, everybody. See you later. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.